Good morning, treasures. As you come in, let me know if you can see and hear everything okay. A bit excited to keep going on this, sweet girl. Today, hey chicken little. Hey. Okay, I think I'll make a start. So it's a bit of a grey Friday morning today, but we're going to have a super hot weekend, which I'm not looking forward to at all. The birds are probably a bit noisy out, but they'll settle down soon, and I'm trying to keep the doors open because it's already really muggy. Yes, it's not supposed to get too bad today, like close to 30 today, but tomorrow is supposed to be high 30s and Sunday's low 40s, which is just hideous, and I can't even. But yes, hello, we've got a special guest star. Violet's in here this morning. She's meowing and wanting attention. But we're going to start on this gal again. I'll come back to visit this girl again. And alright, so what do I want to do? What do I want to do today? I think we'll finish off any bits around the face here that need a little bit more attention, and then start working down here on her bib-like area, I guess, the top of her head there. Although I would kind of like to work on this. There's too many decisions. What I'm thinking of doing is, because this is our 6th session, I think we'll do one more live session on this girl, and then I'll do the rest as a tutorial that will go up on YouTube, so you can finish it off. We might start on a different creature after that, so we can build up our menagerie, as it were. Alrighty, I'm going to start with some dark sepia, and I'm going to work on these darks a little bit more here, remembering that it's the darks that really make all the light areas stand out, so you want to make sure that they're really popping. I'm looking at all the layers of these feathery bits here, almost like a little petticoat. It's my mum's 70th birthday today, and we wanted to do something special. I was supposed to be taking her and Dad to Scotland this year, but obviously that didn't work out. And my 2 brothers and I wanted to take the whole family away for the weekend, but given what's going on with the virus, we weren't sure much in advance, you know, what we would be able to do, whether we could travel, you know, even within the state, because a lot of our states were closed off from each other for a while there. We ended up deciding to book an Airbnb, like a beach sort of house, which is only like 40 minutes away from here, the other end of the Central Coast. So that's what we're doing this weekend. We'll be leaving around lunchtime, so in a few hours, to go and do that, which will be really nice. And thankfully there's air conditioning in the main rooms of this house. Otherwise we could be in a bit of trouble, but the bedrooms don't have air conditioning, I don't think. I think the main room does, or we'll put Mum and Dad, but it's only a fairly short walk to the beach, so even though, you know, the beach is probably the worst place to be when it's really hot, as far as, you know, getting sunburned, etc. But yes, it should be nice anyway, something a little bit different. I haven't, like everybody else, haven't had any time off, gotten away at all this year, so That will be nice. I'm just going to add a few of these little spots in this side here. If you look closely on these spots, you can actually see that they have a patterning to them. So, I mean, clearly they're part of a feather. So you'll see that they go long ways. You can follow the dots all the way up to the top of a feather. So while they've got that patterning, you've just got to be careful not to make like little picket fences where they look too precise. I'm kind of letting her guide me this morning. I wasn't really sure where I was going to start off today. So I'm just going to let her tell me what she wants done first until we get into the swing of it. Alright, I've got warm grey 4. I just want to give a little bit more definition to these little frills. Let me know if it's too noisy and I'll shut the front door, and that will get rid of a little bit of the sound anyway. You can hear lorikeets out there this morning. Sit back every now and then, have a bit of a look and see what else I might need to do. Shadow underneath the beak here. And then this is quite light, just in this section here. There's a little bit more shadow, so I'm just really lightly going over this area here. Just a little glaze. Alright. I think I'm going to keep this warm grey in my hand and come down here and put a little bit of shadow in this section of wing. Now we haven't got any other base layer down here yet, but I think it'd be nice to add the shadow in first, just lightly. And there's more of that sort of grey colour up here. So I'm looking at whereabouts, I've got my line drawings here, but I'm looking at whereabouts in reference to the beak. This particular area I'm thinking about doing is okay. Let's get some lights in there. Oops. I think I'm going to go with some ivory as the base around here because it's quite yellowy. It is lighter up here though, so maybe we'll do what we did before and do a layer of white in this section. And I may actually have already started to do that down here, yeah. In this really light sort of area here. some glass out there too. So I'm using a Prismacolor white just because that's what I've got on hand at the moment. I ordered a bunch of these, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago when I was doing some more sort of graphite and like white highlights on grey toned paper. And my Polychromos white is fairly small. I've got some more on order. So this is a waxy pencil, but it works beautifully as an undercoat too for, you know, the oil-based pencils or anything either. It's a little bit more opaque than the Polychromos white, so it's actually quite nice as a lay down underneath using the scratch tool too, the slice tool. Okay, so a bit of white there, and I'm going my tiny ivory. I have got some pencil extenders on order, so hopefully they come fairly soon. It's getting a bit tiny. Some ivory as a base coat down around this way here. Go over the top of that grey. I'm not pressing hard, I'm just doing a like long sort of circular strokes in the direction of the feathers. I'm just trying to get a fairly comprehensive amount of ivory down so that the strokes are sort of overlapping each other. And I extended up and into the white a bit there. I'm going to have to add some more layers in there of colour anyway, because it's not white. So I'm looking where this feather, with this wing comes to, so I'm going to stop it around there. And that's what we'll work on today. Okay, let's start building some layers. What will I start with? I feel like I should start with the yellow. I'm going to start with a sip of water. But do I start with a yellow or will I start with like an umbery colour? Ah, decisions. I feel like I might start with... Where's my scratch paper? Here. No, not that one. I want raw umber, but I'm not sure what I've done with it. Yeah. I've got like 10 projects on the run at the moment, so my pencils are kind of everywhere. No, not you either. Alright, let's split the difference and go... No, I don't want to do that either. No. I want raw umber. No. Come on, lovely, you can find it. I don't think I've even got a spare of that one. Oh, look here, I've got a spare. We'll use that one. it might seem silly, can you see those colours? It's not dramatically different to the brown ochre, but that's what I wanted. So I'm going to go over the grey area here a little. Working really lightly. This pencil, obviously I haven't sharpened, this is how it's come, but this is fine for doing this sort of glazing work. So the way this colour is going to react is going to be different over the top of this ivory base than the grey that we put down here. And I'm trying to think about what these feathers would feel like underhand. They're kind of floofy and bouncy looking, you know, where they sort of sit out from her underlying anatomy. So I'm using the raw umber here in the sort of shadowy areas. What are you all up to this weekend? I know that it's Thanksgiving in the US, which is going to be a very different Thanksgiving, I think, for a lot of people this year. But what about the rest of you? What plans have you got for the weekend? I'm trying to decide what I take with me for the weekend away, as in drawing wise, because I can't really lug all of my different pencils, and I'll get frustrated if I get part way through something and haven't got the colour I want. So I think I'm going to take my iPad. I've got a couple of different projects that I've got to work on, the structure of some different drawings, so I can sort of work that out. One's a tarot card that I'm working on for the Changeling Collective. And then I've actually got a few book illustrations that I'm doing at the moment, so I'll take that, but then I think I'll just take some graphite, maybe a few greys, and do a little bit of sketching. I'm not very good at relaxing. I don't know about you guys, but I actually find it really hard to relax. So this weekend's going to be a bit of a challenge for me. I'm usually on the go so much that, yeah, it's a struggle sitting still. All right, how's that looking? She's so pretty. Okay, I'm going to go with a warm grey 2 now, and just keep adding to the depth of that, creating layers, creating that sort of colour story. And I'm looking at the fact that there's this quite light area here, and I'm wanting to keep some of the white in there. We will go over it in pieces too, but I'm being mindful of the way that the feathers interact with the next colour down, with the shadowy areas down. So in doing that, I'm bringing a little bit of the warm grey 2 up and into the white area. I don't know, she's kind of reminding me like a Farrah Fawcett type hair from the 70s. With lots of little flicks. Looks like she's sort of blown her hair out a bit there. And of course this Polychromos Warm Grey 2 is excellent for blending as well. What have we got going on here? So still working just on the underlying structures, looking at the shapes of the shadowy areas, the shapes of different colours, and building that structure up before we look at any detail. And I am working really lightly. It's all about getting some pigment down at the moment. I'm not focused on individual sort of feathery clumps at the moment. I'm just looking at the overall structure of some of the shadowy areas. You can hear my fan going off in there. I hope it's not too loud. I've got a second-hand air conditioning unit, and I don't really know how to work it very well, so I looked up the user guide last night because I wanted to try and set a timer for the aircon so that my girls, my 3 cats, don't roast in here over the weekend. I mean, I could come back because as I said it's about a 45-ish minute drive away, and put the aircon on for a little bit for them, but because it's an older unit too, it costs a fortune to run. Well, I guess I'm not used to running air conditioning, so maybe it does for everybody, but I've only had it for a couple of years and I used it really sporadically last year. So yeah, I'm having so much difficulty trying to figure out this bloody timer. And I thought that I had it, I can get it to start, but it doesn't seem to turn off when I want it to turn off. Anyway, I was mucking around with it last night. I'll have to muck around with it a little bit more this morning before I leave. But this morning when I got up, it was blowing hot air. Not an air conditioning setting on, like fan setting, but hot, and I don't understand. So I mean, I definitely can't have it doing that when it's going to be 40 degrees out. So I'll have to see what I can jerry rig, I think. Summers are just getting hotter and hotter. It's or maybe I'm getting less and less tolerant to it, I don't know, but it's not, I don't find it very pleasant, let's just put it that way. Okay. I'm going to take a bit of yellow now. I'm going to go with the dark Naples ochre. I do want to bring a bit of orangey colour in too yet, but just building these layers up. This is quite golden over the top of everything else, so we want it fairly low down in the layer cake, because we don't want it to be overwhelming. And I'm really doing just like a light glaze pretty much over everywhere, leaving a few gaps where I can see that sort of yellowy tone. So I think already you can see that it's starting to build up some form. These sorts of larger areas where there's not as much detail as the face, eyes and stuff, usually come together quite a bit quicker. Plus you sort of do this dance between how much information you actually want to put down for each section, because I want her face to be the focus point, so you can sort of be a little bit looser with the way that you render the feathers. And even on the picture you can see it's a bit blurry, so it's not a bad idea to try and sort of mimic a bit of that blur. I've got nougat, and I want to add a little bit more of that sort of brown colour over the top of this grey, and already just a few strokes in you can see the difference that's starting to make to the shadowy aspect of this part. So it's always about those darks. And I can look a little bit more at the detail here, but it's more about getting these shapes in. This a little bit of dark sepia in here as well. And again, I'm using this very lightly as a glaze over some of these other shadowy areas. It's just about building up the layers slowly, building up the texture. Which is a little bit pinky in here as well. It's quite a bit of light sort of areas coming through there, so I can just use another layer of the browny colour, this nougat, over the top to start to mimic that a little. Okay. I want to start to blend all that together, so I've got my ivory back again, my teeny tiny ivory, and I'm just going to go over that. Everything that we've done here now, that also, not only does it sort of blend stuff together, it also provides another layer as well. So it sort of strengthens that yellow ivory colour, as well as softens the layers that we've got, pulling them together. Okay. Cute. Oh, where's my dark sepia? Alrighty. Dark sepia again. And I'm gonna add a little bit dark in here. And this is not only is it nice to add darks in, but it's actually a really nice shading colour too. So add some sort of shading texture over this as well. So I'm looking a little bit more of the detail here. I want to add an orangey colour in. Burnt ochre probably, but I'm going to put a few of these little dotty marks in now. And we can strengthen some of them after we've gotten some other layers in as well. I'm really looking at the reference. This doesn't have to be exactly the same. We want to feel for it, but when it comes to these sorts of things, it's quite good to get your hand-eye coordination really working. And I'm looking at the reference and hardly looking at my paper. I'm kind of letting my hand-eye coordination figure out where the next part's going to go by drawing with my eyes over the top of the reference. And then obviously looking down to make sure I haven't got it in some random spot. But it's a good thing to do too, so keep that in mind. So you can see that there's layers of the dots too. Some of them are really vibrant, really dark, and some are quite light. So by getting those in there now, I hope that I can sort of lighten some of them up, just by virtue of adding more layers down. Okay. Let's grab a little bit of our, which is not there because I have it over in this project here, burnt ochre, that orangey colour, and I'm lightly going to add some of that in. It's not everywhere. In fact, it's a little bit green in here. I might add a little bit of a greeny tinge. There's more of it here because this is on this side where it's starting to become the wing, which is quite orange. Really are very pretty and rather extraordinary looking animals, aren't they? Okay, there's not really much more orange anywhere else there, maybe a little smidge in here. Okay, I'm thinking I might try a bit of the green gold, and then I've got that olive green yellowish. The green gold can be quite overpowering, but we'll see how we go. It's very goldy, isn't it? Let's see what a little bit of the olive green yellowish does. Yeah, it just adds a nice little extra layer of depth, doesn't it? And a little bit under here too. So just slow, gentle progress, lots of layers. But you know, we're only a half an hour in and we're getting quite good lay down. So I think that although, you know, working with pencils is a slow medium, it's not that you don't make progress fairly quickly too. I mean, all things considered. It just takes some patience. And it's a pretty nice thing to do anyway, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really pleased with that green. That looks much better. Okay, there's a little part here that's really gold, so I'm going to add a bit more of that green gold over the top of that. There's a really quite goldy part there too, and there is under here too that we haven't really spent much time on down below there yet. I think they're telling me that they've run out of seed. Sometimes I give in and give them some more, but sometimes they just have to realise that the early bird gets the worm and get here a bit earlier so as not to miss out. Alright, I noticed that here I have got a lot more of the browny colours, orangey colours, and I'm just sort of blending some of this yellowy gold up to green gold, sorry, up into that so that there is continuity. And it doesn't take much, just a little hint of a layer. Okay. I'm going to go with a bit of a darker warm grey now. Oh, I don't think I want 6. No, I don't want you. Here you are, warm grey 5. Okay. I'm going to start to think about a little bit more definition around some of these areas now. So this is actually a lot darker over here than what I've got at the moment. So I'm going to use this warm grey 5 as a glaze over the top. And soften this transition here a little bit. Darken underneath. And I'm going to want to use something to burnish that again, so probably some ivory again. I'm looking at the way that there's some feathery shapes in here. I don't know if I want this dark down there, but I do here. There's quite a noticeable V of dark there. And some more shadowy bits in between. I feel like it might be a little too dark for there. We need a 4 for there, I think. Okay. Still going over this a bit. I'm going to go back with the warm grey 2. Over this, because it's not bright white here at all. I just need to build up the depth around it a little bit more. Blend that together. And I think I'm going to add just a very subtle amount of orange glaze here to really pick up the orange. It's coming from the beginning of the wing structure on that side. That's better, isn't it? A little bit of nougat again. Redefining some of that a little bit. Okay, warm grey 2 again. Building up layers, layers and layers and layers. Okay. I'm going to get warm grey 3 now, which needs a wee sharpen, so excuse the noise for a second. So it's just one step up. And I want to start to bring out some of the shapes in this little ruff around her neck there. So I'm coming out from underneath the sort of petticoat area, and I'm going to come in from the bottom. So I've got the I've got tapered off pencil strokes coming this way and this way. Working really lightly. coming out from underneath. I need just a tiny little bit of yellowy colouring there, but we'll come back into that. Keeping an eye on my reference, trying to mimic the sort of organic sway of the feathers. Oh, she's so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more into there yet, but we'll get in there. So I'll do the same process to sort of define some more of the structure of these floofy bits too. I love the greys in polychromos. They're my core colours, really. I use them for everything. I haven't done it. Don't think I've done a wildlife piece, animal piece that doesn't have a whole bunch of them in it. She's coming along. Nope. Somebody just got in trouble out there. There's definitely a bit of a hierarchy amongst the galahs. Whether it's older pairs, I don't know, because they don't necessarily, I mean, they're interacting in my yard, but they're not necessarily part of a flock together or anything. They sort of tend to be more partners, so you know, you'll see two galahs at a time. I mean, you will see a bunch of them together, but it's not necessary, I guess. It's funny, but you can certainly see the ones who know that they belong on the feet and not on the ground, and sometimes that little bit of authority gets challenged, so they have to put the younger ones, or whoever it is, the usurpers, in their place, as it were. Right, oh, she's looking good. A little bit more orangey sort of colour. Hi, sausage. Just thinking how best to approach that in there, because it's a little bit pink, so I might just do a little layer of pink. I'm saying pink, but it's what's it called, beige red. really lightly, just a glaze over the top. You can still hear the coel in the background there, every now and then. It's a little bit more distant at the moment, which is nice, I'm glad. You can get a bit intense. It's a very dark yellow. I want a lighter yellow. I want a dirtier, lighter yellow. I think I'm going to go back to raw umber instead. It's not quite right either, but it's closer to the tone that I want. So, and I'll put some ivory over the top. Working really lightly, defining some of these under feather bits. So you can do that without adding a lot of strong colour. If you work really lightly in layers, it sort of builds up around it, so it's not in your face. Still a bit of work to do on that yet. The shape's not quite right. And it's just not dark enough here. It's a bit better. Just pushing it all back a little bit. Yeah, I can't stress how much more advantageous it is to use lots of light layers and build up your colour and depth. It takes a bit longer, but you get much more subtlety, which is, that's how living creatures are. We're not generally strong bursts of one colour. Colour is dimensional. And it's really nice when you actually start to see that the layers that you're building is creating the volume that you were looking for. Okay, just a little bit more grey. No, I don't want 2, I want 3. Warm grey 3. Actually, I say that, and I'm going to put a little bit of Bister in here first. So you can see that it's getting ready for, like, the layers up here are built up enough that it's ready for a little bit more darker browny colour in here. And where I've had sort of soft colour before, I can start to make some more defined feathery shapes too. You can add a little bit more Bister up here as well. How's that going? All right. I'm just going to grab the dark sepia, if I can find it. There it is there. Add those couple of little darker areas in there. Still want to play with this a little bit more yet, but I wanted to get that in there. I want to bring a few little light lines of the dark sepia out in under here too. Just very subtle. But it really helps define an area. Okay, what do you think? I think we might leave it there today so I can go and get ready to go away for the weekend, which is a bit exciting. Although I find it really hard to put my pencils down, I want to keep working. I'm going to use a little bit more burnt ochre. Still not entirely happy with just this patch here. Burnt ochre, and then bit of bistre over the top of that. Just needs to be darkened up a little more. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, well, I think we might leave it there for today. I think she's just coming together beautifully. Next week we will work on this feathery shoulder, I think, and then we can talk further about what we want to do after that. Seeing up here needs a little bit more darkening too. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing some barn owls. So you're all doing such beautiful work. Thanks for creating alongside me here. This is lots of fun. And yeah, let's get back together again next week and have more fun. Okay, I'll see you.